Hey, I'm still here in my hot apartment and I'm still cranky. But I really feel like there's something else I've really been wanting to talk about. I thought about doing a Facebook Live the other day, but I also kind of, I don't know, I kind of feel like just making a video to put out there. Especially around the holidays. I haven't been on social media a whole lot lately, but I do see like a lot of posts. Like the holidays aren't so freaking merry for everybody. I don't care. I don't celebrate the holiday. Like, I don't celebrate Christmas and Christmas Eve. New Year's, yes. It's very symbolic for me about shedding an old layer and stepping it into new. But I hear people talk about, like, the family anxiety. Feeling obligated to fulfill family commitments. Go check it off your list, and how much anxiety that incites. Well, of course, you have the commercial bullshit of the expectation of buying gifts. I let go of that years ago. I was like, I'm not going to put myself in debt to comply with what society says I'm supposed to do for the holidays. Like, it never made sense to me. It never made sense to me. I was like, if I feel like buying you a present in July, I'm going to buy you a present in July. Why do I have to buy 100 people presents in December just because society says you're supposed to do that for Christmas and that you're an asshole if you don't? And if someone buys you a gift, well, then you're a bad person if you don't buy them. Like, I don't know. It's just, like, I quit biting the hook on that years ago. But it was still the family obligation. So, give yourself permission. Like, okay, how do I start this? I've never really talked about family stuff publicly, like, on a video. Talked about it very intimately with details in my book, but I haven't actually talked about it. Listen to yourself. There are things, like I have had friends reach out over the years. They're depressed because Thanksgiving's coming and Christmas and family drama. And not only that, but maybe they have an abuser from their childhood or their adolescence. A dad or an uncle or a grandpa or a cousin or whoever, part of the family, and nothing's ever been talked about or addressed. Nobody ever listened when that person spoke up. There was never accountability. And that person still feels obligated to go to family functions because if that person says, I'm not comfortable doing that, I am triggered as fuck to be around my abuser, nobody ever listened to me, I feel gaslit by my own family. However, the victim has the freedom to say, I'm not going. I know for years I was in this dynamic with my family. I've never talked about this in public. Whenever I would try to get away from my relationship with my dad, it was always a big fight. And my dad would manipulate everybody around me and would use family members that I did have a good relationship with or that I really enjoyed. He would use those people like puppets on a string to try to get to me. How come I'm the black sheep? How come I don't want to come to family functions? How come, well, it would be nice if Jenny was here. Too bad she can't be a part of things. I mean, stuff like that. And so then I would let myself get sucked back in. I would feel bad, rocking the boat, making other people feel uncomfortable because God forbid I listened to my own feelings and what made me feel uncomfortable. And I will tell you a big turning point for me and this was when I had got back, after I was stuck in the hostel for 5 months when the pandemic hit. I was in Bogota. I was on martial law lockdown in this hostel and came back to Oklahoma to focus on writing and getting my story out. And when I got back, my brother was about to get married. And it was a big deal. Gosh, my brother. I hadn't really seen him for over 3 years. We hardly kept in contact while I was gone. He was going to get married. It was a milestone. It was a lifetime, once-in-a-lifetime moment. Well, hopefully a once-in-a-lifetime moment. I always had bitter jokes in my family. We come from dysfunction on both sides. Oh, someone's getting married. Oh, I'll catch the next wedding. They'll have at least 2 more. But I was listening inside of myself. I had been away from family and U.S. culture and everything that was my comfort zone for 3 years. Been traveling on this road journey. When I came back, I had all of these trigger points. And when I came back, I was sober. So I couldn't hide behind anything anymore. I couldn't go on drinking benders or 3 or 4 day long Coke benders with Jack Daniels or opiates, whatever. I was sober. So at that time when I got back, my dad was like, hey, your brother's wedding. Hey, family's coming in and out of town. We haven't seen you in years. You've been on this journey, traveling, whatever. trying to talk about what I kind of dress and clothes I needed to buy and all stuff. And I was able to hear myself. And I was able to realize, like, I had this chronic anxiety inside of me. I was like, and I was able to, like, acknowledge that for years. Like, whenever my dad wanted to meet for lunch, like, I would fucking dread it. I hated it. I didn't want to see him. I didn't want to share my life with him. And I would have diarrhea for a whole week before we had lunch. And then I would always have to have at least one alcoholic beverage before I met him. I would have to go buzz. I would have to have a shot or two out of the freezer. But I wasn't emotionally healed enough at that time to really listen to why. And until it was right before the wedding, and I was just like, I was breaking out in hives. I started to have inflammation in my gut, and my whole digestive system was upside down again. And I was like, fuck, I have not felt this feeling ever since I've been back to the States the last time. Like, I didn't feel this when I was away. And I just had a light bulb moment, guys. I think I was 33 at that time, 34. I am 34 years old. Why am I complying with the obligation to go be in a situation, and I am choosing to put myself in a place of power. I am choosing to go put myself into a place that triggers chronic anxiety. I didn't really want to go. I didn't want to see any of my family. I didn't want to talk about my journey. Of course, I wanted to see my brother get married. I want him to be happy. But I was like, that is going to have such a significant impact on my whole nervous system. It is going to take me a while to recover from it with that many. Now, I wasn't able to understand fully why I hadn't really dealt with stuff deep down, like to understand where all those triggers were coming up from. But that was the turning point in my journey when I was like, why don't you say no? I was like, I can't say no to my brother's wedding. I can't say no to that. That's one of those things that you can't say no to that. And I was like, no, Jenny, you are now loyal to yourself and your journey to you. You have to do what's best for you. They don't have to understand that. This time, instead of going, who fucking cares who gets mad? Let them get mad. They can use the same energy to get unmad. I am not responsible for other people's emotional states. They don't have to understand it. But this is for my best mental well-being. Now, let's now use time and energy and space to really get to the heart of what is triggering this anxiety now that you're sober, and like really dig down deep and sort through stuff. And I did the work, and that's not for this video. However, the reason I'm saying this is because if you're really coping with this through the holidays, I don't know what your relationship is like with alcohol. I know that like alcohol and it's like so rampant around the holidays. And I think a lot of that is because of the triggers of having to fulfill all these obligations and the financial debts. But I think also I see so many posts about family anxiety and family drama and I'm going to tell you, you do not have to do it. You don't have to go. You can give yourself permission to make yourself happy. You don't have to worry about who understands it. You don't have to worry about who gets mad about it. You are validated. You are justified in your reasons for keeping yourself safe, for keeping yourself sane. You are the gatekeeper of your life, and you have permission to deny entrance to somebody who does you harm for things that are not in your highest and best well-being. When you take steps towards self-love and you stand in that power, huge things start to happen in your life. And those are boundaries that only you can put. And of course, the manipulators and the narcissists and the abusers, whatever you got going on in your family that's triggering the anxiety and the depression and everything else, of course, they're going to manipulate and they're going to use things and there's going to be backlash. You also don't have to let that affect you. And that's learning how to stand in a place of your own power. It doesn't have to go over well, but learning how to protect your own peace. And I'm just saying, holiday depression is a real thing. I always used to go into a dark hole. I would be suicidal for like 2 or 3 months. I would go on drinking benders for like from mid-November. I always wanted to die on my birthday on December 9th, and I would get through the holidays, and I was in a dark hole staying fucked up, numb on drugs and alcohol until probably like the end of February. And then the sun would start to come out, and then I would start to come out, and my son would start to come out. But I'm just in this video, I'm just telling you, like, you can face those things, and you can give yourself permission to say, I'm not going this year. What? I'm not going this year. My holiday break, think about how hard you work in your life. You spend more life at a job than anywhere else. You finally get a week off, away from your boss, away from your coworkers, away from the hustle and bustle of everyday routine, and you have a break, and you're going to choose to go put yourself in a situation that is triggering anxiety and depression, that's going to just have a big emotional upheaval, and then you're not really going to have space to cope with it, because then you got to go back to work and get back in the matrix. It's just going to be a hamster on a wheel and back into the, the go of life. What would happen if you said, you know what, I'm not going this year. I am going to take that time for me or your family, whatever that looks like your nuclear family, your husband, your wife, your significant other, your kids, whatever, and just say, I am choosing to protect my own peace, and I don't feel good being around certain people, and those reasons are mine. They're nobody else's business. You don't have to explain anything to anyone. You don't have to answer any questions that you don't want to answer. Those are yours, but nothing is more important than you loving you and you protecting your peace. And I'm just here to tell you that. And guess what? I set myself free of something so big when I did that, and it had huge consequences. Oh, it had huge upheaval with the family, but then I blocked everyone and said, I set myself free. Oh my God, I've dreaded this for years. Oh my God. Oh, I don't have to go do that anymore. I took the first step into the courage of saying, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go to your 4th of July barbecue. I don't want to talk about my life. I don't want to open up around you. I don't want to share my stuff with you. I don't have anything in common with you. Of course, it went much deeper than that with family trauma. Different video, different time, but I'm just here to tell you that it's okay to feel what you feel, but also you don't have to feel it. Or you can choose to step into those feelings and figure out where they come from, and you do your own healing work, and you can bypass all that bullshit. And that will force those family members and certain family dynamics to look into the mirror of the nature of those relationships. Oh, it'll cause a ripple. Best believe. That's okay. That's okay. Doesn't have to cause a ripple for you. You can stay in your peace. And if those certain people that really want you around, that are like, man, I'm really hurt that I really miss your presence in my life, that's an opportunity for you to speak up. If you are on your healing journey, that's an opportunity for you to speak up and say, if you feel like you want to, work on the relationship, and that person is also willing to do the work, you have an opportunity to heal a relationship, and you have an opportunity to develop a healthy relationship and break cycles and heal. And that's not only for you, but it's for your ancestors, your lineage. So, and that gives an opportunity to say, look, I'm not comfortable. If you feel like it, if you don't have to answer to shit. But you can say, I don't feel comfortable doing that because my boundaries aren't respected. I have specifically stated X, Y, and Z X amount of times, and it's just not respected, and that just violates my codes of self-love, and so I'm not comfortable being around that. Or it could be pulling the cat or pulling the skeletons out of the closet with an abuser. This went on for years. I told Sally, I told Aunt Joe, I told everybody. Nobody listened. This has had a significant impact on my adult life and my relationships. I am now coping with that and healing. Nobody has ever spoken out about that. I'm done with it. I don't want to be a part of that dynamic. It is triggering for me to be around that. I don't want my kids around that. And that takes courage. That takes a lot of courage, but you can do it. And let me tell you, the power that comes from stepping into that, I'm telling you, you'll feel a fire all through you, and you will start actually also going for your dreams, because that powerlessness of not setting boundaries and choosing to put yourself in situations that don't feel good, that also takes power from other areas of your life, guys. So when you start doing that with those things, then you're starting to heal. Your heart chakra will start to flow, and then you'll start to go after things that you do want. You'll make space for things that you do want, and you'll start believing in yourself. You'll feel your self-worth more, your self-love, and then you'll be like, hey, I have the power to make myself feel good. I have the power to protect myself. I have the power to remove things out of my life that don't feel good. Then you start getting more power, and it's a snowball effect. And not power in a negative way, power in a beautiful way, that's self-love. And say, I have also the power, if I can do that, then I can do this. Well, oh God, that change felt so good. It came with the rocky, and I was scared on what was on the other side of it. But man, that had such a positive impact on my mental health. It gets it cleared out. That space clears out, and then you can see other things that you're like, hey, on that note, this friendship no longer serves me either. I'm done with it. And you realize it's all a cobweb in your life, and it's all intertwined, and cycles to be broken and healing. And I'm telling you, you can face it. I did it. Continue to do it. I have not had contact with my family with my dad. At that time, I blocked him. That was over 3 years ago. And then my mom and I have not spoken for almost 2 years. My brother threw a tantrum that I quit talking to my dad. It's deeper reasons than that I don't want to talk about right now, right here. But okay, bye. Okay. And I can tell you the amount of peace and happiness I have in my life now. I will never speak to my father again. My brother, I know one day I will. And my mom, I know we will work through things later. It's not time. But guess what? I'm doing great. You can do it. It's okay. Life moves on. Do what's best for you. And I just wanted to tell you that. I know someone out there needs to hear it. So anyway, I hope that contributed something of value to someone's life. Bye.